I've gone from scrolling till 1 to 2 a.m. every single night with a fucked up sleep schedule to consistently sleeping at 10 p.m. and waking up at 6 a.m., maybe even earlier, every single day. And it only took me a couple of months. So here are like the top key things that I've implemented. This covers everything that I learned, and it's probably one of the last videos you need to watch on improving your sleep. This is just what's worked for me, so here we go. The first tip is to have an alarm. So the main thing that it really changed, if you see my habit journal, there was one day where it changed it all. And it was when I just had a very strict wake up time and a sleep time. So and that involved having an alarm. So I used to, wake up at like 8, 9, 10, depending on if it was a weekday or a weekend. If it was a weekday, I used to, force myself to wake up earlier and miss out on hours of sleep. And if it was a weekend, 10, 11, like light, So I had to force myself to wake up at the time that I wanted, at 6 with an alarm. And I'll be honest, it was hell for the first few days, and it's gonna be hell. If you're sleeping till like 10 a.m. like average these days, it's gonna be fucking annoying as fuck to wake up at 6, and you're gonna hate yourself to do it. But that's only for like the first few days, maximum the first week. And after that, it's really smooth sailing. After that, for me at least, I didn't even need an alarm. I just naturally woke up at 6. And it was great because every time in the morning I woke up, I kind of like woke up slightly a few minutes before the alarm. So like I pre-moved my alarm so I wouldn't have to hear that annoying fucking iPhone alarm sound. The second step is to have a good reason why to wake up early. On the days where I had like strict intentions and plans and a reason to wake up early, like especially like for example if I was traveling somewhere and I needed to wake up early to catch a flight, those days I just found myself really easily waking up early because I had a good reason too. Whilst if if it's a weekend and you don't need to wake up early because you've got so much time for the rest of the day and you've got to chill, then you'll find yourself much less likely to actually, take the step and wake up early. So have a good reason every day to wake up early. Step 3 is to have no blue light before your bed. So many people say, that you should not have any screens before bed, but I never fucking got consistent with that. But I realized after researching that it's mostly the blue light from these phones that are the reason why it disturbs our sleep. So all I did was I went to my settings and I turned on this night light thing, which basically makes your screen like yellow, and you can have it on for the entire day, or you can have it on from like sunrise to sunset, or the opposite, like normal from sunrise to sunset and the yellow thing from on the rest of the times. And I found that really helps with your eyes and with just falling asleep. So that's step 3, turn on night mode in your iPhone or Android or whatever, fucking Windows phone, whatever you have. Windows phone. The fourth step is to have no caffeine after 2 p.m. So I know you have heard this, I'm not going to spend much time on it, but I never have caffeine, or I try not to, at least after 2 p.m. Maybe on some days where I have tests, I want to reward myself with an energy drink or a coffee or whatever, that's fine, whatever. But on most days, like 98% of days, no caffeine after 2 p.m. Because caffeine, you might think that it lasts you for like 9 hours or whatever. But I found through research that it is like a half-life, like radioactivity. Caffeine has a half-life, so after 9 hours, you might think that it has completely gone out of your system. But usually, like let's say you had, 90 milligrams of caffeine. By 9 hours, its half-life would mean 45 grams. And then another 9 hours, it would mean, half of that. So it never really gets to, fully zero because it's half on half on half. And it exponentially goes down like a diminishing returns curve. So that's why it's really important to not have any caffeine after 2 p.m. The fifth step is to make sure your environment fits the requirement. I make my environment as cool and as dark as possible while sleeping, because it's really much harder to sleep when it's like fucking warm as shit. You don't know what to do, you take everything off and you're still fucking sweating your balls off. Or when it's, like a bright fucking light, I can still sleep, but it's just much more favorable and much more auspicious to just have it cool and dark. Those I found are the best sleeping conditions for me. The sixth step, the third last step, is to look at sunlight the minute after you wake up. So I got this from Dr. Andrew Huberman. He's the one that kind of like popularized it with the science. And I'm not going to bore you with the details, but basically every time I wake up, I just, look outside my windows, and see the sunlight. It doesn't have to be sunny, by the way. As long as there is light outside, it's the sun, it's sunlight. How else is there light outside? So just go outside, and I just look outside for like a few minutes after waking up. And that just kind of, with the science, I think it just gets like a circadian rhythm like flowing. And there are a bunch of added benefits, and that also helps with your sleep, I found. The seventh step is to fast 2 to 3 hours before bed. So when I was in India, when I was like really small, I used to eat right before going to bed. And that's when I didn't know any better. But I used to, eat dinner, like a heavy fucking dinner, and Indian dinner too, so like roti, sabji and all that kind of stuff. And I used to sleep right after that. And you can see, like, that's really not good for your health. Maybe you don't do it now, but the best thing is to fast for like 2-3 hours or even more before you go to bed. So now I eat dinner at like 6 p.m, 7 p.m. max, and then I go to sleep at like 10 around. So there is a period of time where I'm fasted and I'm not like bloating myself with more food right before sleeping. Of course, if there's like any social events or like once in a while things, you can make exceptions for like, but for like your average day, you want to make sure to fast at least some hours before going to bed. And the last step is to deserve your sleep. Have you actually worked throughout the day, bro? Have you actually deserved your sleep? Do you actually deserve to sleep? Because I found that when I didn't do much during the day, when I didn't like earn anything like value or skills or money or whatever, and I kind of just didn't do much and I just chilled, my brain didn't really want me to sleep. My brain wanted me to do more, get more out of the day before I sign it off and go to sleep. And that, I realize, is a big reason to why most of us can't sleep at night, because we just feel like we haven't achieved anything throughout the day. So our brain is kind of like, like, what the fuck, we just wasted a day. Why are you sleeping now? At least get some more value out of it. And I think that if you have done stuff throughout your day, like if you have worked out, if you have studied, if you have worked on your goals, if you have progressed, then you'll be tired at the end of the day and you'll actually want to sleep. And your brain will allow you. You deserve your sleep at that point. And so those are like how many was it? 8 steps that I've implemented, the key steps that have really helped me improve my sleep. And the last thing I just want to say is that don't stress about improving your sleep schedule here and now. I mean, you saw my habit tracker, it was a sudden change, but that was also because that we're doing like this health project thing. We did this health project thing in PE, and my lifestyle goal was part of that. And it was like the last week for that to, fucking actually do the shit. And I'm grateful because that just made me wake up at 6 now consistently. So it doesn't have to be like instantaneous like that. So don't worry about it being like so, and just take the next step in front of another and intend on improving a sleep schedule. As always, your potential is only limited by your intention. Take care, man.